Hello there, welcome to In My Opinion 4, Kill la Kill If.
Our story stars Ryuko Matoi, who has transferred to Honnouji Academy looking for clues connected to her father's murder. This academy is run by Sasaki Kiryuin and her Elite Four, who all wear Goku uniforms, which are outfits that grant them superpowers. So now Ryuko must face this challenge along with her own sentient uniform, Senketsu, and her new friend Mako to kick ass and get her answers. This is the basic setup for the game. What kind of sucks is the game expects you to have watched the anime to really understand what's going on, since it's a condensed version of the show until the new material. The new material is where the if in the title comes from, as instead of Ryuko, you play as Sasuke and experience this new story that takes a different route from episode 8 of the anime. Though after finishing the story mode, you do get to play from Ryuko's point of view of this new take on the material. The story itself was entertaining as it keeps the anime's tone and all the characters keep their over-the-top personalities, such as Ryuko's foul language and Mako's speeches and goofiness. Simply put, if you're a fan, you will dig it, as it's nice to revisit this world and see some new material. But if you're someone who's new, you might be a tad confused with what's going on. Though it could make you interested in seeing the anime, which I suggest watching cause, well, it's awesome. Kill la Kill If is an arena fighter, so that means you have full 3D movement around the field. You can also do a full dash across the field or a sidestep. There's 3 different types of attacks you can do. You have the standard attack, which is your basic melee attack, and depending who you are, your second attack is more of a distance attack, letting you peck at your opponent from afar. The last attack is guard break, which is a course to break through blocking, allowing you to continue the ass kicking, and you can pull off all this in the air or ground. There are of course super moves you can perform by using up your SP gauge, which fills up while you're beating your opponent down or at the receiving end of a beating. Each character has 3 super moves which are pulled off the same way, and the game gives you a heads up when you can do them. The last mechanic is the Valor system, which is basically a rock paper scissors minigame you can activate once your SP bar is filled up to a certain point. All you need to do is then activate it near your opponent, which triggers a clash battle in which you can choose 3 different options, which are health regain, SP gauge regain, or dealing out damage. If the opponent wins, you lose some health and get cancelled out. If you win, you deal out some damage, earn a little star, gain a character specific boost, and you get to continue the mini game yet again. Doing the tie results in the same thing as a win, only difference being you don't get to continue and you must do the Valor again. You're probably wondering what this star you get does. Well, once you reach 3 stars, you activate your Valor overpowered mode, in which you can now land a killing blow finisher. It doesn't matter if it's the first round, landing this still ends the game as it strips your opponent's clothes off. Another use for Valor is if you're getting beat on, you can activate it to blow back your opponent, allowing you to get some room to collect yourself. If you use your Valor to activate the minigame or break away from your opponent, it will go away for a little bit before you can use it or even your supers again. I actually found the combat pretty damn enjoyable. It's fast and furious, and most importantly, it simulates the show perfectly, such as when you're performing those specials or the one-hit kill moves. I also like that most of the characters feel different. While the most obvious stuff is like how some focus heavily on range combat, or some have much better speed, or some can take more damage, another thing that makes them different is some have gimmicks, such as Gamagori, as while he does pack a punch, he has to whip himself in order to activate his whips, which give him more range, and while in self-whipping form, you don't stagger right away, though all of this does cost him some health. Since we're talking about characters, let's talk about the roster, which I can see some having a problem with since it's pretty small. There are 8 characters only, and 10 if you count the double blade variation of Ryuko and Sasuke. The developers plan to release 2 free characters, which are Mako and Ultimate Double Naked DTR, but as of now, it's still small. I know there weren't tons of fighters for the anime, but there could have been 2 more added, a la Takaharu and Omiko, who did fight in the show even for a brief moment. I will admit that combat does have some balance issues, which these arena type games always suffer from. One of the problems is the break attack itself, since while there are some slow ones, most of them are really fast and have decent range. This easily leads people to just spamming it since there's no real drawback to it. I don't know, maybe they could have added you can only do a certain amount in a match, or have it be something that recharges. Again, these arena games are not really balanced, so if you're thinking of going hard in competitive play, maybe rethink that. Now let's talk modes, and up first we got story mode, which I explained has 2 paths, and each of these paths have 10 chapters. I have to say these will take you about 2 to 3 hours max if you count the cutscenes. I do give it some credit as it throws some things like fighting multiple characters at once. though it needed a manual switch target button because it does it automatically instead, and this does screw you up sometimes. There's also times when you're facing a more powerful version of a character and some other characters come out to help. Then there's the cover battles which have you fighting living clothing. After the story is complete, you unlock some other modes, like survival mode, which has you facing increasingly harder characters until you die. And then you got the usual versus against a computer or a friend. The last single player mode is the covers challenge, and there are 3 versions to play with, which are defeat as many as you can in 1 minute, defeat 100 of them as fast as possible, and finally there's endless when you can kill as many as you like till you kick the bucket. This is fun for like a good couple of minutes, but after a while you just wish it was a bit more than just different time limits. Now for online, which is both player and rank matches. I could not find games for player, but found some rank fights which didn't take too long to get into. The fights themselves are pretty damn smooth and I suffered 0 lag. In fact, the most lag I ran into was during the intro dialogue, but after that ended it was back to normal. Remember, like I mentioned, these arena type games are not all that balanced if you're looking for deep competition. But if that doesn't bother you and you're just looking to have some quick pickup matches, then the good news is that it runs well. The last thing to mention is the GP points you can earn by pretty much doing anything in the game. This lets you buy stuff from the gallery, like character models so you can make a diorama, music from the game, and what to me is the best thing to buy, the voice clips. Here you can buy little interviews with both the dub and sub voice cast, which is them answering some questions or just saying thanks for playing. Though heads up, if you want to hear the Japanese voices, there are no subtitles for it, so unless you know Japanese, you're shit out of luck.
How would I describe Kill la Kill in 1 word? I think that word would have to be screaming! Yeah, probably that word.
Speaking of the gallery, there's also a section that gives you some info on the characters from the show if you're unaware of who they are. And they even mention characters that weren't in the game's story mode. Though what would have been helpful is a picture to go with the character description, since like I just mentioned, they did give info on characters that are not even there, and a newcomer would be confused. You're also allowed to watch any of the story mode cutscenes in the gallery. This is really all there is to the game, which is its weakness, as it needed some more content for single player. Maybe a challenge mode that had you fighting tag teams or fight characters with certain modifiers. Also, some unlockable costumes would have been nice, as there ain't much of those either. This is the big strong point of the game, as the character models look fantastic. They look just like their source counterparts and the shading gives them that anime feel. The effects added to the specials, attacking, and just general movement helps give the combat that visual flair. They even have the over-the-top giant lettering the anime is known for. I wish the game had more levels to choose from so you wouldn't get tired of looking at the same arenas. But if I recall, the anime didn't really have a ton of different locations, so I don't think I could hold this too much against them. Of course, one of the biggest surprises was that this game contains the English voice cast. A lot of these arena games that are not based on Dragon Ball or Naruto usually go the sub-only route, which is a big letdown. So I was very happy the cast came back to do some fantastic voice work. They put just as much emotion and effort as they did with the anime. If you're not a fan of the English voice work, there's always a Japanese option to pick. What was also a nice little touch is each character has a specific line for one another, so it's not just some blanket generic line, which helps give the encounters more personality.
Okay, Satsuki Kiryuin, we're gonna settle this right here!
She's strong, Ryuko. Stay focused.
Got it! Your talk is cheap. Show me what you're made of!
I will say, when it comes to the lip syncing, at least for the story mode, it's really bad. I'm guessing this was only synced up to the Japanese voice actors, and while it's noticeable, it didn't really kill my buzz. I didn't run into any glitches, tech issues, or even big frame rate drops, so the game is pretty damn smooth.
You'd see you don't have to be so savage.
Watch it, new girl! If you hurt Lady Satsuki, I swear I'll kill you!
Is that how you're gonna get your revenge, Matoy? You got no honor!
If you dicks don't stop complaining, I'll bail. I ain't doing this because I wanna.
The game does have some problems with the lack of single player content and how the story mode doesn't really help newcomers to the material. Let's not forget that it being an arena fighter, that the balance is not all that great either. However, that stuff aside, it's still a really fun game to play with some enjoyable combat, great visuals, and of course the fact that they got the English cast to come back is a big plus. Replay value basically is you just earning some points to buy some more stuff from the gallery, and of course online matches, which thankfully run smooth. If you're asking, is this a good game, I would have to say yes, but it could have been a great one with some needed additions. I hope you enjoy my thoughts on this game, and for gamer's sake, keep gaming.